Donald Trump had a tremendous announcement today, a new trade deal with the UK, and it's looking really good for the United States. It's going to make us a lot more money, open up the UK markets for U.S. trade, a massive and positive deal. Of course, Democrats the whole time have been complaining that Trump has no plan, he doesn't know what he's doing, and that the right just says whatever Trump does, it's the right thing to do. Okay, well, that being said, the Democrats just say anything that Trump does is the wrong thing to do. And for this, my friends, the Democrats, it's worse than it's ever been. Fox News saying that President Trump's approval rating is sliding, but the Democrats' poll numbers are hitting new lows, the worst Fox has ever seen. It's actually quite simple when you look at it. Trump is doing things, whether they're going to work or not. He's telling the American people, I'm going to put tariffs in place. He's telling the American people, we're going to bring manufacturing back. We're going to deport illegal immigrants. We're going to secure our border. We will make America great again. Democrats are going, Trump is wrong for closing the border. Trump is wrong for deporting illegal immigrants. Trump is wrong for putting on tariffs. Trump is wrong for trying to bring back manufacturing. Literally, you cannot function in a country when one side just says anything you try to do will be wrong no matter what and offering up no solutions. But there's something else outside of this. Something that I think matters more than whether or not Trump does something or doesn't. I had a conversation on Piers Morgan's show last week. Piers asked me, how I think Trump was doing. And I said, B+. It's not perfect. I'm skeptical on the universal tariffs, but I largely like what he's doing. And he asked me, would you say the same thing of Joe Biden? I said, no, probably not. And that's because Donald Trump's worldview is closer to mine across the board, meaning I have a greater tolerance for mistakes and errors. I trust him more. Joe Biden has done things I view to be criminal, wrong. He's associated with evil warmongers. So when he does bad things, it is just another item in a litany of corruption that we've already seen. The reason I bring this up is Gen Z is more conservative than ever. And boy, can I tell you what. I got this great article from BuzzFeed where they're basically saying, we've asked a bunch of young women why young men are going conservative, and they have no answers. They give you a bunch of stupid men want to be in control and white men want to. Yeah. Been there, done that. If that's the narrative you're going with, you lose. But my point here is maybe Trump is just improving and Democrats are losing because conservatives tend to have more kids and liberals do not. And thus, there are going to be more conservative young people. I got the data to show you. Maybe we're winning the ideological war, or maybe it's just a war of having babies. Could be. My friends, welcome to the Rumble Morning Lineup. This is your official transition into the afternoon. We're all transitioning here into the afternoon, my friends. I am Tim Pool, your host. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. And shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club for shouting us out. Really do appreciate it. You guys are incredible. You are awesome. It is thanks to you, the Rumble Morning Lineup has dominated the live stream charts with several of the biggest live streams in the country and owning the news live space. It's truly incredible. So thank you all for tuning in and joining us. Don't forget to smash the like button. Share this show right now. Come on. If everybody who is watching this tunes in, takes it, and reposts it, this would be the biggest show in the world. Maybe, assuming everybody was sharing it and tuned in. Before we get started, of course, head over to castbrew.com. Use promo code RUMBLE10, and you will get 10% off everything. Plus, we already have a Mother's Day sale. I don't know if the coupons compound. I don't know if it works. But we're doing a Mother's Day sale. It may be on now. It may start tomorrow. 20% off everything. Check out all the different coffee. Everybody loves Appalachian Nights. Everybody loves Ian's Graphene Dream. But we got a bunch of others. You've got Luck of the Seamus Irish Cream. You've got Gingerbread, 2 weeks till Christmas. You've got Misty Mountains, Focus with Mr. Bocus. And of course, if you're a decaf kind of person, Sleepy Joe. And there's Unwoke. But let's jump into the news, my friends, and start going through the current state of affairs in this here country. Fox News reports President Trump's approval ratings slide, but Democrats' poll numbers hitting new lows. Now, many of you may be saying, I don't like hearing that Trump's approval rating is going down. I don't trust the polls. But at the same time, I do like hearing that Democrat poll numbers being all-time low is good, but I don't trust the polls. Well, look at this. Donald Trump's approval rating is rebounding. Same day, updated this morning. It is. Trump just announced this amazing trade deal. It is ridiculously good. Have you guys seen the details on this trade deal that Trump negotiated with the UK? I can't believe the terms we had with the UK before. So this trade deal is fantastic. Hopefully we get more with other countries. I'd like to see a functional trade deal with China. What I mean by this is we want our own manufacturing, but we want to do deals where deals should be done. There's trade to be made with China. We just don't want them manufacturing all of our base goods. We want to be able to survive on our own, and we want the jobs for ourselves. China can make products, that's fine, and we'll buy when it makes sense. But there's got to be balance. Here's a story from Fox News. President Donald Trump has some polling problems with his approval rating sliding into negative territory since he entered the White House. But he's far from alone when it comes to taking a political punch in public. The opposing Democratic Party's favorability ratings keep sinking to new lows. DNC Chair Ken Martin said this past weekend on a Fox News Sunday interview that the party's focus right now is squarely on making sure that we stand up for hardworking Americans who are being left behind in this Trump economy. So you mean like very few people? But many Americans apparently don't believe that. Democrats are up to the task. The Democrats' rating stood underwater in the latest Fox poll at 41% favorability, 56 unfavorable. That is an all-time low for Democrats in Fox News polling. And for the first time in a decade, the party standing was lower than the GOP. This Fox News poll is far from an outlier. Now, we did talk about this just the other day, but there's more information here. The Democratic Party's unfavorable ratings were well in the negative territory. In a Pew Research national survey, 38% favorability, 60% unfavorable, conducted in early April. 36 favorable, 60% unfavorable in a Wall Street Journal poll in a field a couple weeks later. And national polls conducted in February by Quinnipiac University and March by CNN and NBC News also indicated the favorability ratings for the Democratic Party sinking to all-time lows. But wait, there's more. I love this because I was saying we don't want to trust a single poll. But they're giving us all the polls showing much the same thing. Confidence in the Democratic Party's congressional leadership sunk to an all-time low, according to Gallup. The confidence rating for Democrats' leadership in Congress at 25% in the survey, which was 9 points below the previous low of 34%. The semi-annual Harvard Youth poll, which was released late last month, indicated that approval ratings for Democrats in Congress among those 18 to 29 nosedived. I'm going to tell you this. That nosedive, I don't think is ideological. I think what happened is 18 to 29 changes every year. So you've got 18 to 29 and Democrats are at 40%. A year goes by. 29-year-olds are no longer counted. 17-year-olds are now 18. Democrats collapse. What does that mean? Young people are conservative. The next generation, Gen Alpha, is probably going to be massively conservative. Now, we talked about, it's terrifying. Only 40 million Gen Alpha right now, and the generation is about to close. 40 million. Well, here's the bad news. That is a microscopic generation relative to the 70 million for each previous generation on average. Boomers were big. I think they were like 90? 40 million. That's bad. Here's the good news. They're probably all conservative. So at the very least, voting bloc domination, although a lot of old millennial cat ladies will be voting too, don't get me wrong. They're going to say an ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll conducted in mid-April indicated that more respondents trusted Trump than Democrats in Congress. 40% for Trump, 32% for Democrats. And a Reuters Ipsos poll conducted late last month suggested Republicans hold a significant advantage over Democrats on the top two issues, the economy and immigration. The Democratic Party has been in the political wilderness since last November's election setbacks, when Republicans won back control of the White House and the Senate, and defended their fragile House majority. The Republicans made gains among Black and Hispanic voters, as well as young voters, all traditional members of the Democratic Party base. Since Trump's return to power, an increasingly angry and energized base of Democrats is pushing for party leaders to take a stronger stand in pushing back against the president's sweeping and controversial agenda during the opening months of his second administration. What we've seen so far, over the last few months, is some Democrats taking it upon themselves to tackle what has been a larger brand problem over the past decade and a half. a Democrat strategist, told Fox News. The anger not only at Trump and Republicans, but also fellow Democrats appears to be a factor in the party's polling woes, with a drop in positivity toward the Democrats in the Fox News poll partially being a self-inflicted wound. Party favorability among Democrats plunged 10 points. We've seen it. Newsweek, Donald Trump's approval rating is rebounding. So as we've already seen, my friends, Democrats ain't doing so well. Newsweek reports President Donald Trump's approval rating is showing signs of recovery, marking a potential turning point after weeks of political turbulence and economic uncertainty. Recent weeks have seen Trump's approval ratings plummet amid anxiety about the impact of his Liberation Day tariffs, which saw markets temporarily crash before bouncing back days later. But after a sharp decline driven by economic anxiety, a recovery in his numbers suggests the president may be stabilizing his base and regaining control of the political narrative. Let's pull up the Real Clear Politics aggregate polling, my friends. And it's looking, this is really interesting stuff. Let me grab this. He's currently -6, but look at the manic, let's call it manic, let's call it bipolar. Take a look at this. If you go back the past couple of weeks, this makes literally no sense. That Trump can be -6, +2, +1, -8. The polls are insane. All I can say is, within the margin of error, Trump could be -9, he could be -3. When we look at Rasmussen, which has been pretty accurate, he's +1. I wonder if they have Atlas Intel in here. They don't. But Atlas has been pretty accurate as well. Now let me show you why. The New Republic, our communist friends. Look at this picture of Donald Trump. Oh, come on. You know they saturate Trump's face. This is the craziest thing about these people. I've met Trump in person. He is not that orange. This is a Photoshop. This is crazy. Trump does get spray tans, but he doesn't look like that. They do that on purpose. Because if people are just going to these leftist sources, all they see is Trump with an orange face, and they lose their minds. Trump is actually quite a bit pale. I think they've, I'll say this too. Are they implying that Trump only spray tans his face? I don't think it's a real image. Trump accidentally admits he hasn't made any trade deals. Trump has continually insisted that deals over his tariffs are coming. Okay, well, here we go. Watch live. Trump unveils United Kingdom trade deal. First since reciprocal tariff pause. Really? President Trump unveiled a trade agreement with the United Kingdom. The deal with the UK is the first by the U.S. with a country whose imports were subject to new tariffs. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is not in Washington, but is expected to participate in the event remotely. Let's take a look at this. We've got this post here from Troy Nails. President Trump is the deal maker in chief. He has reached a historic trade deal with the United Kingdom. President Trump and his entire administration are working hard to protect American industries, protect American workers, and grow our economy. Take a look at this. New market access, up to $5 billion in exports. Tariff revenue will be $6 billion external revenue from the 10% tariffs which remain. UK tariffs are dropping. So hold on there a minute. Donald Trump negotiated more access for ethanol, beef, cereal, fruit, veggies, animal feed, tobacco, soft drinks, shellfish, textiles, chemicals, machinery, and more. And he's keeping the 10% tariff on the UK? Wow. That's a heck of a negotiation. So he goes to the UK and says, here's what we're going to do. You're going to give us way more access to everything, and we're going to give you nothing. And they said, okay. You know what Trump probably said? You take a look at China. You see how much higher we can go. We're going to stay at 10. You're going to open up your markets, or we're going to go to 150. You think, look, this is what I love about Donald Trump. He sits down with the UK and he says, we're at 10% now. And they said, okay, well, let's go down to 3%. Let's go to 4% tariffs. So it's a little bit better for you. It's at 3.4. And then we'll give you access. And Trump goes, no, we're at 10. You could be at 150. I love it. Here's how I imagine it went down. Keir Starmer's like, okay, you're at 10. Let's bring yours down. We'll bring ours down, and we'll meet in the middle. And Trump goes, no, Keir, I'm at 145% on my perceived adversaries. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to be a nice guy and keep you at 10%, and we're going to call that a win for you. And they said yes. Yo, this deal is crazy. Let me say it again. Steel and aluminum trading union, tariffs and quotas, pharmaceuticals, secure supply chain, quota on UK auto exports, 10% tariffs on 100K quota, airplane parts, 10 billion Boeing procurement. Trump got a 10% tariff on the UK to stand, and they gave him more. I mean, that's just incredible. And so they're sitting here saying Trump's failing. Now, I got to take a pause here to revel in why the Democrats fail. We'll start with our friend Bernie Sanders. Let me just play. Let me show you. This guy is supposedly Bernie Sanders and AOC. They are leading the Fighting Oligarchy tour. 30,000 people showing up, and they say these are the front runners for the Democrats. Let me tell you why the Democrats are failing.
5 rallies in a week. The only way you can get around to talk to 30,000 people. Think I'm going to be sitting on a waiting line at United, waiting, 30,000 people are waiting? That's the only way you can get around. No apologies for that. That's what campaign travel is about. We've done it in the past. We're going to do it in the future.
That's right. Bernie needs his private jet because he needs to talk to 30,000 people. No, he wants to talk to 30,000 people. Bernie, Zoom exists. That's right. If you wanted to put your money where your mouth was, you get a big old screen on stage and you appear by webcam and say, "Hey, Bernie said this, and I don't fly private for nobody." Instead, he's like, "I apologize for nothing." I actually respect the brazen hypocrisy. Oh, it gets better. Here we go. Maze Moore on X says, "Great job, Bernie, fighting the oligarchy. Keep fighting that oligarchy."
How can I get by on one house? I need 5 houses.
I own 3 residences. Yeah, I do.
I need jet planes to take me all over the world.
Think I'm going to be sitting on a waiting line at United? That's the only way you can get around. No apologies for that.
Sorry, the American people. We've got the money. We've got the power.
Guess what? I'm a United States Senator.
How can I get by?
So what do you think happens when some 17-year-old starting to pay attention to politics on social media, about to enter the voting base, and they see this? Bernie Sanders is like, "We can't have private jets because it's polluting, but I can." They're going to be like, "Oh, they're liars." That's just what they do. They lie. Bernie Sanders defends using private jets for Fighting Oligarchy tour. Oh, amazing. Independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has defended his use of private jets to travel during his Fighting Oligarchy tour. Since February, Sanders and Democrat AOC have been touring districts former President Joe Biden won in 2020, but Republican House members took in 24. His use of private jets to attend tour stops across the country has raised questions from conservative critics, including journalist Nick Sorter, who accused him of hypocrisy. That's going light, to be completely honest. That's it. I am still monitoring any new information on who the Pope is going to be. But, we'll see. We'll get more information when that happens. In the meantime, they say, according to the FEC, Sanders' campaign committee, Friends of Bernie Sanders, spent over $221,000 on private jets. Whoa! Yo! The filings showed he used 3 private jet companies, Ventura Jets, Cirrus Aviation Services, and NJet. Meanwhile, in April, Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez were filmed by Fox News boarding a is it supposed to be $150,000? No, it's $15,000 per hour private jet to stops. My friends, as it turns out, I am familiar with private charter travel as I do it periodically. I think last year we flew maybe like 5 or 6 private flights. I'll tell you why. For one, we as capitalists don't care when people who are capitalists succeed and then take private jets. Outright, I can just say, I hope one day all of you get to experience a private flight. Private flights are wonderful. If you can afford them, it can streamline the process. It is a useful utility. And for those of us that believe we have a right to succeed on our merits, we largely don't complain when people buy nice cars and succeed. That being said, Bernie Sanders doesn't do that. Bernie Sanders rags on everybody for flying on private jets. Now, I'll tell you why I fly private when I do. When we go to TPUSA, we've done it 3 times. The only way we can do it, we fly private. So what happens is we get a charter. It is expensive, but we're going a one way only. We fly back commercial. We fly there because I think last year we had to get there I think we got there on the day of the show. I think it was like Friday. I can't remember what day it was. So I had to fly in the morning. I had to do morning work, catch a flight, and get right to Arizona to run up on stage. And so there's no commercial flight I can do that unless I skip IRL and the morning show, which is an insane amount of money, which we need to pay our employees. So we say the amount of money we will save by doing those shows and then flying private makes it worth it. So we do. And when I fly to certain shows, same thing. If I have to do IRL at night and then be somewhere first thing in the morning, depending on cost and everything, we'll fly private. Now I will let you guys in on a secret. What kind of jet do you think old Tim Pool flies on? I don't. I fly on turboprops. Let me tell you. Most people don't know this stuff. So I've got some New York appearances coming up, which means that I've got to do my morning show, The Culture War, and then be in New York in I think about a week. We'll be going to a couple different shows and a couple different podcasts because we have to do marketing. I have to appear in other places. I have to debate people. Otherwise, like, you stagnate and it's bad for business. So I'm not going to skip The Culture War. I'm not going to skip my morning show and then take a commercial flight because, again, the amount of money we lose is going to be substantial. Now, see this right here we have on the screen? This flight that AOC and Bernie was on? Holy crap. In fact, you can look at the tail number, and I hate that they darkened it. Can you guys figure out the tail number for what that was? Because if you do, you can look up what kind of jet that is. But let me just tell you, having flown private, that is a massive PJ. I don't know what it is, a Learjet or something. Okay, I typically will fly on a King Air. They are several $1,000s. I think from here to New York, it might be like $12,000 round trip for a King Air. It has no bathroom. It is from the 80s. And when I was talking to another wealthy guy and I said, I don't know, if we're going to charter, we're going to go as cheap as we can. It's mostly about scheduling conflicts. And he was like, so what you flying on? I said, King Air. And he went, oh, hey, don't rag on the King Air. Turboprops are not jets. They're prop planes. They have propellers. They don't go very fast. But I don't got to deal with waiting in line, security. I don't got to be on the time of the airline, which means we say, I have to be in New York at this time. We need a private charter. We're going to spend that money. We do the morning show. We make more than that. We can pay our employees. I skip the morning show, fly commercial. I lose way too much money. So that's why we do it. My point is this. Guys, it's not a humble brag. AOC and Bernie Sanders don't need to fly on that jet. They are intentionally choosing luxury. Let me stress that for you one more time. I really want to get this tail number here because then I can look up exactly. It's really annoying that they darken it. There we go. Okay. It looks like W604XT. Let me see if I can find that. W604XT. I think that's the tail number, right? Oh, is it an N? N604. Was that an N? Oh, okay. It looks like an N, right? Because I typed it in, N pops up. And let's see what kind of aircraft they're flying on. So this looks like the jet. Hard to tell for sure. All right. What kind of jet is this? Let's see what we got here. Owner, aircraft type. It's a Canada Air Challenger CL60. Speed is 536 miles, the max altitude of 36,000 feet, with a range of 1,070 miles. CL60 jet. Is that what it is? I don't know all my jets, to be completely honest. Let's see. Bump. Is that what it is? Canada Air Challenger 600. That looks like it. Can we get an image of this thing? Holy crap, dude. I wish, man. I wish. Take a look at this thing. This looks like the same jet that they're flying on. I'm not entirely sure, but you can tell that when I say like I fly in a King Air, sometimes we will fly on like a small jet. I flew on like a small 4-seater once because they're cheap. You can't stand up. I don't care. I'm not trying to waste money. I don't need the luxury. I'll sleep on a floor. However, I'm not a communist. So if I need to get somewhere on time and it's good for business, We're making it happen, but I'm also a penny pincher. It's funny to me that these commies are flying on one of the... This is nuts. Is that what it is, a CL-60? It looks like it. Either way, these people are flying on luxury, man. They are playing dirty games. Yep. And Tim Turks is on our dime. Let me stress, some of these politicians are flying on your dime on taxpayer money, for sure. Like when they flew to El Salvador. That wasn't private, though. I'm pretty sure AOC and Bernie were flying on PAC money. So what they're doing is they're going to the you know why Bernie's like, I need to talk to 30,000 people? Because you know what he's thinking to himself? If 30,000 people each give me $10, I can fly in more private jets, baby. He's not wrong. I agree with him. If all 30,000 people watching this right now gave me $10, heck, you could buy a 1980s turboprop for $250. And to be fair, maintenance, hangar costs, not even if you're in a hangar, if you're like renting space, it's insanely expensive to actually operate your own private plane or turboprop. But Bernie is thinking, we go in front of these people, we're going to raise a lot of money, I can fly in more jets. I'm not kidding. My only problem with that is that he's a socialist. Is that this guy is going around saying climate change is bad. Therefore, nobody should fly in private jets but me. Yeah. Well, my friends, for now, I just want to say, we don't have any guests lined up for today, but we will be moving into the next portion of this, the Gen Z turning right. So smash that like button. Share the show with everyone. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. We are going to wrap up the intro segment. Thank you all for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.